Okay, I'm here with Mr. John J. Jeckovich, and the date is Wednesday, August 21st, 2024, and I'm reading his book, Their Mother's Sons, and you're looking really nice, Mr. Jeckovich, in your new clothes. We keep you in tip-top shape. Tomorrow you get your nails manicured and your hair cut, but you look good in your new clothes. You look like you're in excellent shape. How are you feeling today, Mr. Jeckovich?
Tip-top.
Because the other day, even though you're knocking on the age of 100, you said you feel like 40. Do you feel like 40 today?
40, yeah.
I'll be damned. That's wonderful. What is the secret to your longevity?
My the genes.
Okay, besides that?
What? No smoking, no drinking.
And what else?
Exercise.
Didn't you jog for 80 long years? You jogged for 80 years.
Yeah.
What got you started in jogging 80 long years ago when jogging wasn't fashionable? What got you started?
I read an author a running book, and he said he runs every day, so I took his advice.
That was a good book you read that day.
Yeah.
It kept you going very strong. You know, you see out today people jogging. Back then it wasn't fashionable. People would yell out the window of their cars, and as you're jogging in your big old boots and your corduroy pants and your old cut-up sweatshirt, they'd say, "Hey, mister, can't you afford a car? Do you need a ride?" Now today, many years later, they didn't realize you were jogging for health, and all those people back then, they were being sarcastic and throwing beer cans at you. They're all pushing up daisies. They're long gone, and you're still here, sharp as a tack. You could read the newspaper without glasses. But I noticed lately, in the last couple years, people are wearing very, very expensive jogging, multicolored uniforms.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever get into that?
Yeah.
Even towards like the 2006s and 7s, did you ever?
I wore T-shirts overhauled.
So you never changed?
No.
Never changed. So you're definitely before your time, before people thought that jogging was fashionable. And another thing you're before your time with, you had special ordered an international SUV in the early 60s, and you had it painted like military green, and whenever you're driving around, or your wife would drive around, they'd say, "Here comes the green monster," because back then, no one's seen SUVs.
Yeah.
No one's seen SUVs.
Yeah.
And then right after that, you got today you see SUVs on every corner, but the reason why they're calling you the green monster, because they never seen something so big, but now it's commonplace. So you're before your time on that. And also, you had built an international crew cab 4-wheel drive truck. Was that a manual shift or an automatic?
Let's see. Manual, yeah.
And was it on the column or was it on the floor?
On the floor.
Did your wife ever drive that big truck?
Yeah, she'd grind the gears and everything else,
She'd grind the hell out of the gears.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, you were before your time with that vehicle also, because way back maybe 60, 70 years ago, you would never see any of those on the road, and now they're on every corner.
The crew cab, yeah.
Yeah, now they're on every corner. That is really amazing. So you basically never smoked, you never drank, and you jogged for 80 years. You say a lot has to do with genes. So let's take a look at this. How old was your mother when she died?
89.
How old was your father when he died?
43.
And I believe your brother, one brother died at
Uncle Stevie.
91,
yeah.
And the other one, your sister, 82,
yeah.
And I believe your other brother, 86.
Yeah.
So you're knocking on the door of 100, and so you got them all beat. And you had the hardest life.
Huh?
And you had the hardest life.
Yeah.
You were the only one that ever went to the front lines during combat. You got a sniper that blew out your shoulder with a high-powered rifle, and you still have shrapnel in your leg. So, and then on top of it, you worked in a hot Kimberly-Clark factory for 35 years,
Yeah.
which takes its toll.
Yeah.
Takes its toll on your body. So, I would say you're a walking, talking miracle.
I don't think so,
You beat
Dave.
the
I don't
system.
think so.
You beat the system.
Yeah, I don't think so.
You're a super soldier.
Super
Purple
soldier.
heart, 2 bronze stars.
Good thing she can cut my nails tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have your nails done too. You're looking good, and we got to keep you looking good. Got to keep you looking good. How was your dinner today, by the way?
Good, good, good.
No issues?
Huh?
Everything was nice and hot?
Yeah, hot, yeah.
Okay, okay. Can I have your dog tag number?
420965.
Right on the money. That gives me an opportunity to start reading your book. And we're on chapter 15, and it's titled Patrols on the Rhine, VE Day.
Here, John.
VE Day, Patrols on the Rhine, VE Day. So just to catch up a little bit, you're just leaving the hospital in Paris, and all those months you're in the hospital, you met a beautiful young lady named Renee. Renee was a former nun that later went into the French Resistance. She questioned her Roman Catholic faith, like many people do, including the Pope. And after her mother and father were brutally killed, and her 2 brothers. So then she joined the French Resistance.
Yeah.
Joined the French Resistance. So what do you remember about Renee taking you to the French Resistance headquarters? What was that like?
What?
When you went down the catacombs in the French Resistance headquarters, what do you remember there?
Well, the smell, for one thing. It smelled damp. Cold and damp.
And they had a desk set up with some type of monitoring device or transmission device?
No, they had a radio up there.
A radio, okay. And how did Renee gather most of her information?
Well, she was paying the German officers, and when they're getting painted, they talked a lot, and she's picking up a lot of information, and she's relaying it back to the Allies, and they finally found out about her, and they killed her.
They killed her in a horrible way. It wasn't just a shot to a head; it was a horrible torture. But so let's get back to Renee for a minute. She was a nun that left the convent, became in the French Resistance. You became quite friendly with her. She did not want you to leave Paris. She did not want you to leave Paris. And then you would go to her house, which was also a studio. She was an accomplished artist, and it was kind of an eerie feeling, you said, when you went into the studio at first, and you seen all these SS portraits there.
Yeah.
And the sole reason was that she was getting information from them in a roundabout way.
Yeah. Well, she was an artist. She was
A very good artist.
Yeah. And she used that added attraction to get information.
And she also did your portrait?
Yeah. I don't know where it's at.
Well, we'll find it. Well, what did you think? This is very important. What did you think when you met this beautiful young lady? Beautiful young lady. And then you went to her house, and now you're surrounded by SS portraits. What did you first think?
Well, I don't know if she got, I don't know whether she's truthful or not. I don't know.
So you felt uneasy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be a very odd feeling because the Germans occupied Paris for about 4 years.
Yeah.
About 4 years. And she sacrificed her devotion for the French people by being tortured and brutally murdered. Brutally murdered. And I wonder what happened to all those portraits of the SS.
Huh. Who knows what happens to a lot of stuff. It's all gone. It's all gone.
Around their house, was there many bombings? Was there many buildings that were destroyed around their house?
Her house?
Yeah.
Residential buildings?
Was there anything destroyed?
Well, I mean, I think the Allies and the Germans didn't want to hit hospitals. They didn't want to hit schools and that. But sometimes they misfired.
They left the Eiffel Tower alone.
Yeah.
They left all the Catholic churches alone.
Yeah.
They left the museums alone.
Hospitals.
Yeah, hospitals. An interesting fact, once you left the hospital in Paris, they didn't send you to the front lines right away. They sent you about 30 miles north of Paris for further rehabilitation. And at that time there, you had to take a bus, a train, and then a taxi to see Renee.
Yeah.
So you had 3 different modes of transportation.
Yeah.
Wow. You could write a book on that. The modes of transportation to see Renee. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. Today, the SS and the secretaries, the female secretaries that worked in the concentration camps, to this date are still being captured.
Oh, yeah.
And still being put on trial. There was a lady they just caught that was a secretary in a Jewish concentration camp, and she's 99 years old. 99 years old, they just caught her. But the interesting thing that as you converged and freed many people in these concentration camps,
18.
is that even the most hardened soldier had no idea of what they were about to see. What they're about to see when they freed these young men in these concentration camps. They were down to 60, 70 pounds. Most of them couldn't even lift themselves up. So what the American soldiers did, they went into the offices of these concentration camps, and there was these German ladies that were secretaries, and keep in mind, they were instrumental on the death of many of these soldiers. These secretaries were also instrumental in the death of many Jews, tens of thousands. And these ladies were living the high life. They were cozying up to the SS, and they were fat because they're eating everything when the prisoners have nothing. Prisoners are dividing up a rat.
Yeah.
A rat's tail.
Yeah, correct.
And we always nickname those secretaries a simple slogan. We call them fat fucks. They're fat fucks. And the interesting thing about these fat fucks is the American soldiers took them out of that cozy environment of the SS offices. By now, all the SS officers, they abandoned ship like a rat on a sinking ship. They abandoned like a rat on a sinking ship. They took all these fat ladies that were having the high life, kissing up these SS officers, best food, best drink, best sleeping accommodations, and they put them right into the concentration camps to help the American soldiers care and remove the prisoners, which was a big task. Try to move thousands and thousands of young men that can't walk on their own because they're so fragile. They also made these secretaries. There was many dead living in the bunks, many dead living in the cots, many deads living on the floor. They made these secretaries drag these deceased prisoners and put them up in a pile. So this was a great thing that took place, a horrible situation they witnessed, and it was almost mentioned that when Patton seen that, he almost became sick to his stomach. It's unbelievable what they witnessed. And to this day, 2024, they're still rounding up these secretaries and the SS. Still rounding up these secretaries and the SS. What did you think of the SS?
SS, well, they were dedicated soldiers.
But I think they broke every Geneva Convention rule.
Well,
I think the SS broke
they figured it was war is war.
Okay, for example, melee at the Battle of Bulge, there was about 130 18 and 19-year-olds in frigid conditions. Keep in mind, the Battle of Bulge was so damn cold, it was the coldest winter in 20 or 30 years. 20 or 30 years, the coldest winter. Some of the snow drifts were 5 feet, trying to trudge through 5 feet. But anyways, in melee, there was 132 American young boy prisoners captured, young men captured. And they had the American soldiers during the Battle of Bulge, they had them, once they're captured, stand by the roadside and keep their hands up. Well, number one, you're probably sick and tired of not eating in a long time. And number two, you probably don't have much energy left for not really eating in probably weeks and sleeping in the trenches or in the foxholes. So they had all these 132 young American soldiers lined up, and if they dropped their hands because they got tired, it was instant death, instant death. And so the soldiers thought they were being shipped. The American soldiers thought they were being shipped to concentration camps because they're thinking, why are we standing here if they're not waiting for a truck to pile us in to take us to a prisoner of war concentration camp? So as they're standing by the road, trucks pulled up, German trucks pulled up, and you tell us what happened next.
They backed up, pulled the tarps off the back, and shot them, opened the machine guns at them.
So they were mistaken, and this is all at the hands of the SS. This is all at the hands of the SS. So now if you can picture, about half the size of a football field, you have young men that attempted to scatter all snow. The snow is red. The snow is red, full of blood, and most of the young men are killed. Some survived. And so the SS stood on the back of the trucks, and they said very misleadingly, they said, any of you soldiers are injured, I'll send medics in to help. The boys were hurt, panicking, lots of pain. They have no war experience, these young Americans. And they start raising their hand, help me, help me. SS came up and blew their brains out. It was that simple.
Yeah.
Under the guise of helping, the SS killed them on the spot. Some did escape, some did live to tell about it. And some of their stories are this: I didn't want to breathe because they could see the frost coming out of my mouth because of the cold. I didn't know what to do. And another young soldier that's wounded and was laying there, he says, I'm trying to think what I'll do, because a lot of these SS were kicking these guys between their legs to see if they jump with a reaction, which is a most notable reaction. It's hard to fake that when you're kicked between the legs, and many of these young men were thinking, how do I hold back if they kick me between the legs? I won't move, I won't show that I'm alive. And that's the ones that escaped said that. But in general, the majority of them were slaughtered on the spot. And to this date, I doubt there's many SS alive. Many of them, like I said, many of them were cowards, and they ran after the war. But they're brutal human beings, and so maybe 4 or 5 or 6 survived, and that's the story they told. But getting back to the SS for a moment, they were cold-hearted people with no empathy. At the camps, they brutally beat and killed these Jewish people, and these young American soldiers. And I doubt if any of them are alive, but over the last 30 years, they were being rounded up. And as I mentioned, as of today, they just round up a 99-year-old secretary. No one's going to forget that. And another story about the SS is that Hitler was always under some type of an assassination attempt, always protected by the SS. But it swings both ways. Some of the SS wanted to assassinate Hitler. So Hitler, over his course of being a ruler, killed in excess of 5,000 Nazi soldiers, officers, and the SS that he thought was part of the assassination attempt.
How many?
About 5,000.
5,000? 5,000 Germans?
Yeah, top officers, SS, and it, well, that number is a true number, but Hitler was very paranoid. So he was basically killing just about everyone around him because he thought they're all trying to kill him.
Yeah.
They're all assassinating him. And so the deaths came brutally, painfully, by torture. Hitler had these people killed. However, if you're one of Hitler's closest associates, and he kind of liked you might say, but you're still going to die because he thinks, very paranoid, he thinks that you're one of the officers or SS that was attempting to kill him, he would give you the privilege of taking your Luger and blowing your own brains out. So you weren't tortured to death, or you didn't get hit directly in the chest or the face with a 40 millimeter anti-tank weapon, anti-tank gun. So it swung both ways. But in general, the SS were just pure devastating evil. Did you run across many SS in your times?
No.
What did you mostly run across? Infantry soldiers?
Regular soldiers like me, 19 years old.
I'd like you to tell that story. There's good people on both sides, that's for sure. That's for sure. And a lot of the young boys on the Germans didn't want to be there no more than the Americans. So tell us how that story when a German soldier, tell us he had to drop on you, a young German soldier.
Yeah, 19-year-old, yeah.
Tell us what happened.
We looked at each other, we smiled, and he turned around, and I turned around, and I thought I was going to shot in the back, but we both walked away.
But he had the drop on you.
Oh, yeah.
And so I guess you and him made eye contact, you both smiled, and he walked with his back towards you and never looked back. He was very confident that you weren't going to shoot him.
Yeah.
Very good story. And I hope that young soldier's alive today like you are, I really do. He didn't want to be in that war.
Well, no.
Which you can picture his face still right now.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really amazing. Wow. So you were drafted, you didn't enlist, right?
I was drafted, yeah. I waited the last minute.
You waited to the last minute so you could take care of your mother.
Yeah.
Like during the Vietnam War, you heard a lot of young men evading the draft and go to Canada. Did you hear of any of that stuff during World War II?
No, I never knew anybody did that.
Never did. I don't think anyone did. I think these young men, they knew they had a job to do. They loved their country. They saluted the flag. They said the Pledge of Allegiance. And they loved their country. They simply went. You know, good or the bad, be dead or wounded. But everything started changing. And then Vietnam came, and you have a whole different breed of people. They weren't that greatest generation, as we speak about, that were the soldiers in World War II. Ironically, World War I was a war to end all wars. And I think we have more wars today than ever before.
Yeah. They're starting all over again.
Wow. With all the soldiers you're in with during the Battle of Bulge, most got killed, but did you stay in contact with the ones that survived?
No. I was on a move. I don't know where they went.
It was like a very fluid war.
Yeah.
You're always on the go. when you got home, did you ever try to make contact with Gene or Ann?
Who?
Gene Mahaney? Gene
No.
or Ann?
No.
Ann Mahaney? No. Gene Young?
I wrote the Lake's brother a nice letter.
Okay, Lape is a young fellow that you had to keep your eye on.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have any street smarts.
Yeah. Well, both his parents were lawyers. He's going to law school.
Yeah, so he had no street smarts, and then he basically had his head blown off, right? He basically got shot in the head, right?
Yeah.
And the only thing you basically seen was one of his ears were left, and his glasses were dangling from one ear.
Yeah.
And you basically took his glasses off the one ear, which was left, and shut his eyelids, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then ironically, if you'd fast forward about 40 or 50 years, Lape's brother, which you didn't know, lived next to you for 25 years at your house in Florida. Lape's brother. And when Lape's brother died, he mentioned your friend Lape during World War II, that he was killed during World War II. But you could have threw a stone and hit Lape's brother's house, and he lived next to you for 25 years, and that's just the way those things go. You didn't know.
3 minutes.
You didn't know. But wouldn't that have been interesting if you would have bumped into him?
Huh?
Wouldn't that have been interesting if you would have bumped into Lape's brother, being that he was so close?
Lake's brother?
He was right living next to you for 25 years.
Yeah. Well, Lake's brother wasn't in the service. Wasn't in the service. Nothing. No.
But I was saying his retirement years were next to your house in Florida for 25
Yeah.
years.
I'm
You just
glad.
didn't
I'm
know.
glad I know him because I had nothing in common with him.
Right.
He wasn't his brother. He was himself. He didn't go to the war or nothing.
He was too young, I think.
Maybe he's too young. I don't know. Maybe he's too old. Who knows?
Yeah.
But he just recently passed away. How's your knees feeling today, Mr. Jeckovich?
Jack, knee?
Yeah, how's your knees feeling?
This one here. Look at this one.
What's that from?
I've had that for a long time.
What's that from?
And it looked like they're both swollen now.
What's that from?
Wasn't that the side where you got one?
Is that the one you have shrapnel in?
No, there's no
What's it
shrapnel.
from?
No, there's no shrapnel. That's just, I had that knee for a long time.
Running?
No, it wasn't running. I think I fell on that knee.
When?
World War.
I don't know, when I jumped out of an airplane, I probably landed on this knee.
Oh, jeez.
You probably did. How many times did you jump out of the plane, Dave?
How many times you jump out of the plane?
Huh?
How many times you jump out of the
3
plane?
times.
Oh, wow.
2 nights and 1 day.
Wow. Was there many other paratroopers with you?
Well, I hope so. I would hope so. I hope I wasn't alone.
And did you have a good landing besides the knee?
Well, yeah, we landed at night, and landing at night is critical because you went into the trees, you know what the hell you wanted into.
Did you go through any trees?
Well, the parachute got caught in the tree, then you got a trench knife, you cut the damn jaws out of the parachute and jump off.
And then fall about 25, 30 feet.
Yeah.
Minutes.
Minute 30.
Wow, that is interesting. Did you pack the parachute yourself?
No.
It's done for you?
They packed them, the women packed them.
That is interesting. And what type of weapon were you carrying when you jumped?
Carrying a carbine
Carabine?
and a pistol.
And that was behind enemy lines, right?
Yeah.
Did any of the other paratroopers come across aggressive gunfire, or are you far enough back that you weren't seen by the Germans?
What? The Germans?
Yeah. Did any of the other paratroopers have enemy gunfire when they were coming off the plane?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
You're kind of like a sitting duck up there.
Huh?
You're kind of like a sitting duck up there.
Well, the Germans put the big flashlights, big floodlights on us.
Big like a floodlight.
Yeah.
And it's-
10 seconds.
And you can't move anymore, you just got to drop down.
Wow, that's interesting. And a lot of gunfire.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of gunfire.
Round hit that church there too.
Wow.
They fell